Welcome to the Vegas Voice Celebrity Corner. I'm your host, Evan Davis, and I'll be bringing you a front row seat to behind the scenes interviews with performers and entertainers here in Las Vegas. Today, my guest is a singer-songwriter and a cowboy, and he has a new single coming out that hopefully we'll get to hear some a little later in the show. I want to welcome Chadwick Johnson. Hey, Chadwick, how are you?
Thank you, Evan. I'm doing great. Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I always love talking to you and learning new things about you. But today I want some of the audience and fans to know a little about you that they may not already know. So why don't we get started with just a little about your background, where you came from, how you got started in the business, and we got like 30 seconds, so go.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Wisconsin. As you know, I grew up on a horse ranch there, and that's what your reference to a cowboy thing. Yep. I grew up doing team roping and rodeo. I still team rope. And I moved to LA when I was about 19 years old and started my wild career in music and trying to figure out the music business there in Los Angeles. And then I moved to Vegas about 7 years ago. So.
Has it been 7 years?
7 years now, yeah.
I
That's
think
how
I met
long
you
we
when
go way back.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't remember where I met you. Do you remember where we met the first time?
We met at the Barrymore, and then we
Absolutely,
went over
right.
and had a drink at the Italian American
Right,
Club.
and then he offered you a job right there. and-
Yeah.
I remember all that. I know. I was just reminiscing with someone about that. You know, a lot of your fan base and fans, they say certain things about you and comment about you. And I had some down here. I don't know. Do you know what they say about you, about your singing?
Yeah, do I want to know?
Well, yeah. I'll just read it and then you can elaborate on it and whatever it says. Audiences to comment on Chadwick's poignant phrasing and connection to a lyric, allowing them to experience a familiar song in a new and exciting way. That's pretty earth-shattering to me. I mean, that your fans feel that way. How did that happen?
When you say connecting to a lyric, for me, lyrics, the message of a song is the most important part of it. And I try to really focus on the message of a song. So I'm glad that people get that, and I'm glad that they feel that, because every song is a message, whether it's something from your past, whether it's something difficult or just a feel-good moment. They all help us get through something or help us enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
So
You're a writer, a songwriter, and a very good one at that. How do you go about writing a song? I've always wondered what it's like to sit down and compose a song, which I have no talent in, but I'd love to try. What's the process?
I think every writer's process is probably a little different. Some people write the music first, some people write the lyrics first, sometimes you're doing them both simultaneously. I usually always co-write and write with someone else, and usually one of us is a little more focused on the lyrics, others a little more focused on the music, but it definitely weaves together, and every song is kind of a different process. Sometimes I know exactly what I want to write about. Like when I wrote the song Remember Love about Alzheimer's, I knew exactly, what we were going to write about, and then we kind of shaped that and shared our stories back and forth and came up with the song.
Yeah.
So it's always a little different, but it's a fun journey.
On that song, didn't you get some accolades or acknowledgement for writing that?
Yeah, I think it touched a lot of people, and it was picked up by some of the organizations for brain health, the Cleveland Clinic here in Las Vegas, and they shared it with a lot of people, and we tried to raise some money with it. So I hope it continues to live on and touch people.
Yeah, it does. It really does. You have a lot of songs out, albums out, but you have a new single being released, or had just been released.
We just released a new single. It's called Have We Forgotten? And 2020 has been a crazy year. And again, going with the topic of something that I wanted to write about, I see a lot of division. I see friends and family kind of being at odds with each other with the stress of this year. And so Have We Forgotten is really a song about reconnecting to our humanity, reconnecting to those things that make us the same, the common ground that we have. And so I hope other people will see it that way and feel what I'm going for.
Well, you, I'm sure they do. I know I do. It's very emotional, a lot of your songs. So I try not to cry when I'm out in public listening to it, but at home maybe I do. You've gotten a lot of awards for certain things and performed all over the world and the country. Tell us a little about some of those wonderful awards that you've received.
You know, anytime you get acknowledged for your art, you know, the music business is a beautiful thing, but it's a tricky thing. You know, we all set out to just to share our message and our love for music and connect other people through our music. And so, but the business side of it is a tough side of it. So when you get acknowledged with an award, it's a very, very special thing. And I did win the Hollywood Music and Media Award for my original song, a song for you. And so that was pretty cool. You know, anytime you're recognized, it's a special thing.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. If you couldn't sing anymore, if that was something that was off the table for whatever reason, what would you do?
What would I do? I don't know. I'd probably want to get lost out in the wilderness riding horses and doing something.
Tell us about the cowboy stuff.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a family thing. My dad, my stepmom, and myself, we all got into rodeo when I was a little kid, and we all team rope. It's kind of a family thing. We like to go to competitions together. And so it's been a big part of my life. It's taught me a lot. Animals, you know, are great for kids, I always say. It teaches you responsibility, a work ethic, how to take care of something and love something. So now I still, after I moved to Las Vegas, I got a horse again and got back into team roping. And I get out to compete a little bit, and I really enjoy it. It's a great part of my life.
Great. What kind of performances and shows have you done in the recent past, and what's coming up for you?
Well, you know, it's been a tough year to do live shows. I did a lot of live streaming shows, though, on a website called Stage It, right from the beginning of the shutdown and pandemic and everything. And that was really cool. It was more cool than I thought because I was able to connect with people all over the country that I only get to see maybe once a year or something. Yeah. So that was cool, but live music is getting back in Las Vegas. There's shows starting to happen now. I've played over at a great little Italian restaurant supper club called Chianti a few times. That's been really, really fun and cool. There's nothing like reconnecting with your live audience in person. The energy that you guys bring is super cool. So I'm glad that things are getting back.
I love when you do those type of shows at a supper club because you have a way of making it something special. You always say dress to impress. People come in tux, in few ties, you know, and everyone, all the women are dressed to kill. And it's just a nice feeling of getting back to the old way of doing things, and that's I appreciate that because I enjoy that too.
Yeah, that was really a big part of the magic of old Las Vegas is people dressed up to go out and whatnot. So when we're doing a dinner and a show, a supper club style, I think it's really cool if people can dress to impress and come out.
I love it when pay them extra, they bring that little table, carry it across from right in front of the stage. I enjoy that.
Yeah, just for you, right?
I wish. But I'll be at your next one anyway, whenever it may be. Who's really influenced you in your life? I mean, what performers or singers or cowboys, for that matter, have had some influence on you?
Yeah, you know, there's so many great influences, and I find that my influences change over the years. You're constantly being influenced in a positive way musically. For me, it started out, I started singing in church, and those old hymns, my grandmother was my first musical influence. She's a pianist and a wonderful singer, she is. And we played in church together. And then from there, as we got more involved in the rodeo stuff, I really got into country music. I love Winona Judd. She's so soulful. And a lot of the great older country stars, Tammy Wynette's and Dolly Parton, Ronnie Millsap, I love him. And those were my early influences. But then as I grew and moved to LA and whatnot, I started getting into jazz and people who sing standards, and it just goes on and on. Donny Hathaway, and now I love Brandi Carlile, and there's just so many great artists out there. It's a constant journey and learning from other people.
Cool. When you go on stage, do you remember the first time you went on and how you felt?
First time I went on stage would have been in church. And I think, I probably always have had a healthy little nervousness, a little jitter that comes when you go on stage. But then after that, the first big performances I did, or for a large audience, was always singing the national anthem at rodeos. Cowboys are very patriotic, and I sang the national anthem quite a lot. National finals, rodeos, and all over.
From a horse?
It started out not from a horse, but we ended up doing that. From horseback, and that was fun.
Yeah. What's the largest audience you ever played to?
Well, national anthem was probably like 10,000 or something like that at the Coliseum in Madison or something.
Do I dare ask what the smallest audience was?
8 people, I think.
Okay.
I remember that show. It was a good, humbling experience.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. And again, who's influenced you, or some of the other people that have influenced you, other than some of those you mentioned? Is there anyone that really stands out?
Other than musical influences? My family. I have such a wonderful family. They're just super loving and supportive. You couldn't imagine more supportive parents and grandparents. And I think those are your first influences, and I'm really fortunate to have been able to keep just really strong relationships with my family. I'm best friends with my parents. And those are the most powerful influences in my life, for sure.
Well, I know we're going to go to his stable. I want to just let people know that you have a great horse named Red, and he's such a pleasant, loving animal. But you just got recently another addition to the animal family, and let people know that you're somewhat of a human being.
Yeah, well, I have 3 dogs. I don't want to put anything to I have Bella, Mitzi, and then we just got Tallulah a couple months ago. She's a standard poodle, and she's doing good. Her training's going well. She's beautiful, and she's growing fast. She's gonna be pretty big. So.
Good. So, and what do you have other than this coming up? What would you like to, if you could do a show? All right, what would your ideal show be?
Well, I think for those of us that write our own music, where my heart is at, is I always want to share my original music the best way I can. But I love covering other artists too. I'm going to have a show that I was going to put out last year before everything happened, but it's the music of Dolly Parton Reimagined, and that's keep an eye out for that, because that'll be coming out here shortly. And she's just such an incredible songwriter. It's a little bit of my country roots, but when I look at her writing, it's so soulful, and there's a gospel element that I really connect to. And she's a great inspiration for me. So we're going to be doing a show of all of her music here pretty soon.
That sounds very interesting. Well, we're gonna wrap it up right now. Thank you for being on the show in the extended version, right? And this is Evan Davis saying we'll see you next week.